Good morning and welcome to weeks 6 and 7. These upcoming weeks, you will be finishing your researched argument essay and along with finishing your final exam. As a reminder, the final exam will be 50 questions and not 25 questions. Before we get to the researched argument essay and the final exam, I would like to touch on a few issues that I see happening in the annotated bibliographies. So first, I will be finishing the final grades for the annotated bibliography, and you can find your annotated bibliography along with my comments in the Dropbox. One of the things that I saw going on with the annotated bibliographies and that I saw on the discussion boards this week is that we're still having a little bit of trouble distinguishing between academic sources and popular sources. So one of the things you want to keep in mind as you are moving forward with this researched argument essay is that popular sources usually have advertisements. Popular sources are usually .com websites. Popular sources are usually written written on a middle school to a high school level. So if the article seems really easy to read and you're able to get through it really quickly, 9 times out of 10, it's not written for academic purposes. It's written for mass consumption. So basically, mass consumption is trying to basically make a profit. And this is why you'll find advertisements on popular sources. Now, it's not that popular sources cannot be used, but the idea of doing this research paper is to be able to use academic sources and further be able to identify between academic and popular sources. So here's some characteristics you want to keep in mind when you are looking for your academic sources. First, academic sources are peer-reviewed, which means that they are written for academic consumption. They are written for the doctors, the lawyers, the specialists, the other researchers in the field, and they're written for you, the students who are doing research on that particular topic. Academic sources do not, I repeat, do not have advertisements because they are not written for profit. They're written for educational purposes. Academic sources also contain abstracts. Abstracts are that paragraph summary of the article that you can read to even figure out if you're going to read the article. If you have a book, to figure out if it's an academic book or a source that's an academic source in a book format, see if it's published by a university press. For instance, Michigan State University Press, Indiana State University Press, Wayne State University Press. When it's published by a university press, 9 times out of 10, it's an academic source. Another thing you want to keep in mind with academic sources is that they cite other sources. They have in-text citations and they have a works cited page. So when in doubt, when you're looking at your sources or when you're evaluating your sources, I should say, ask yourself, does this source have in-text citations and does it have a works cited page at the end? If you have those things along with the things that I've described previously, 9 times out of 10, it's an academic source. And if you have any further questions or concerns, just please feel free to shoot me an email or post on the discussion board. Make sure this week you go back over the discussion board topic from week 5 because I'm going to be going back in there and I'm going to continue to comment on week 5 as we move into week 6 and 7. So make sure that as you're doing the discussion boards for week 6 and 7, that you peek in on week 5 as well. So for this week, or for the next couple of weeks, and I'm just pulling up the assignment for the next 2 weeks so that I can make sure that we're all on the same page, and that is loading as we speak. So, as a reminder, the final deadline to submit the research argument essay is June 23rd, no later than 8 a.m. Please be aware that this is a different time. Remember, this research argument essay, you have a couple of days. I'm giving you a couple of days longer than I do your other papers. But with those couple of days, your final deadline in terms of time is 8 a.m. So if I were you, I would have the paper done on the 22nd and ready to go and polished by the 23rd, which is 8 a.m. Also, the discussion board posts for this week are going to also carry different due dates. So, for instance, your first discussion board post in which you'll submit your thesis statement, will be due no later than 5 p.m. June 18th. Now, that works like we normally do our discussion boards in regards to the Wednesday after the next Wednesday in the week. But you're going to have a second discussion board post for this week in which you're going to submit your rough draft. And your rough draft needs to be submitted on the discussion board no later than 8 a.m. June 19th. Now, the purpose of this discussion board is for you to get feedback from your peers, not necessarily for me to tell you, not necessarily to get feedback from me. That's what I'm going to use the Dropbox for. But for this particular discussion board, for the rough draft, you need to submit that no later than June 19th by 8 a.m. And all of this will be described in your assignment description under the content section, along with the discussion board. Well, when you go to the discussion board, as usual, there will be instructions. So, those are the two things I wanted to talk about with the researched argument essay and the annotated bibliography. Overall, this has been a great semester. One of the things that you want to do as you're moving on and as we're closing out this semester is that it is crucial that you go back and you review the course materials that we've read over the course for two important reasons. Three reasons. One very important reason is that this information is going to be on the test. And as you know, I like to be as specific as possible when I ask you questions from the reading material. Two, the issues that I see people having in their papers and the issues that I see you guys having when you're posting on the discussion board, and perhaps you might not be completely sure about what you're posting, or it might not be the most correct response. A lot of times, a lot of that information is covered in your readings. So my first thing is to think that maybe this student has not read the readings or completely understood the readings. And this goes along with when I am commenting on your papers. So I cannot just tell you if you are having issues with something in your paper or not understanding something, I expect specific questions from the textbook. So for instance, again, like I said last week, when I say that this area of the paper needs to be contextualized and you need to have an attributive tag, and you don't know what that means, then I'm going to direct you to pages in the textbook. So these things need to be easily accessible. So it's extremely crucial that you review this material as you're moving along with your paper number 3. And finally, it's crucial that you read this information so that you can become a better writer. I chose this book this semester on purpose because it's a very interactive book and it's a very self-explanatory book. So if you're having any questions or concerns, I can give you the best feedback if you send me an email or you give me a message in the discussion board that says something along the lines of, hey, on this page, they're describing this. Can you discuss this a little bit more? Or can you clarify versus, I don't know what I'm talking about, or I'm completely confused. The former question with specific examples from the book, actually using terms that I'm writing on your papers. If you have questions about those things, I can better address that. So, make sure that you read the assignment sheet in the content section for weeks 6 and 7. Make sure that you post to the discussion boards. This is going to be the last video that I post, unfortunately, but I will be at my computer. I will be at my computer. I'll be checking email on a regular basis. For those of you that have had issues with uploading to the discussion board for paper number 1 and you're finally able to do it, I'll be getting to those papers this week, and I'll also be getting to any other. I'll also be updating grades this week as well. So make sure that throughout the week you double check your grades, because I will be subtracting points for those of you that haven't been participating in the discussion boards. So I think that I've covered everything. It's been a pleasure, being in class with you this semester. All the communication from here on out is going to be, through discussion board and through email. If you have any questions or concerns, do not fret. Feel free to ask me, and I'll get to that as soon as I can. Other than that, good luck. Good luck this semester. Good luck in all of your classes. Good luck in the future, and I will see you in cyberspace.